Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out with your hosts, Brandon and Collin. On this week's show, a janky pump.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
What's going on?
Oh, not a lot. Just sort of hanging out, really. I don't really have anything to do this week, so I think no more school, man.
Yeah,
so
you're all...
we've been, this week's been a lot of laundry, like tons of laundry, and just like general housework stuff. You know, Susan still has to work every once in a while because she does the parents as teachers thing. So like, she had to go work today. She's been working this week, but not like every day, right? She's gonna go in, you know. So she doesn't have to work all the time, but she's still at work sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So they had like a story time event thing today. It's like they had like a big picnicky thing, right? So it was a big deal. But so yeah, mostly nothing. That's pretty much what I've been doing. Pretty exciting. I did today.
Yeah.
Right? Since it stopped raining for a while, right? It's not been like storming outrageously outside. There was no hail. So I went and I put some new handlebars on the old bicycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you went from what? Did you have the bullhorns?
Yeah, but they were too wide.
Yeah, the wide.
Right. So I
bullhorns,
got some narrow, like 38s, I think.
some tri-bite, some tri. Nice and tight.
So they're still bull bars, but they're smaller. They're more narrow, right? The other ones felt like when you leaned forward, your arms were like too splayed out, right? And it just felt uncomfortable and weird, right? So I put some narrower ones on there. And that from the 10 minutes that I rode around outside today, they were much better. They're much more responsive, right? Nice. They're much more. So I don't know. That's all I did today. I was test fit some of those. I'm gonna have to adjust them slightly. That's what I did today. I went out and fussed with that. Since again, it wasn't raining. Finally, there was no hail outside. So I thought, hey, now is a good time to do that.
Yeah. What needs to happen right now is for me to go do this thing that I have to be outside for.
Yeah. So I went and did that, aired up the tires because my tires are so flat because they just sit in the garage, right? So they're just like, so I do that.
Don't want to ride on flat tires.
No, I think the stem on my little air nozzle is slightly bent. I don't know how that happens. So
oh no.
I'll see how that goes. But there's the long ones. What are those ones?
Oh, the ones the Pista. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes. That one? Not the Schrade's the flat one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that one. It's the big, tall, spindly looking one. So it has the thing that runs up to the middle.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
They have those tubes. So like, it's kind of, it's whatever. But I think one of the things is slightly bent. I don't think it was leaking any. It didn't make any noises once I got it aired up. And at first I thought it was, but it was the pump handle going down.
It's always
I know. I was like, oh my God, what's
always? It happens to me all of the time. So I am right there with you where I'm like, dang it, there it is. Oh, it's done. Oh, okay. Anyway.
Like, oh no.
Kind of
I
lift
have
it back
like
up.
a janky pump, right? It's like not quite high enough pressure for those little skinny tires, right? So you kind of have to like on there. Yeah, I really kind of like force it in there. But it was the only pump that I could find at Walmart because like they don't have bike pumps at Walmart really, and I didn't. So it works good enough for what I need it for right now. But like,
sure,
whatever. But yeah. So other than that, again, the pump handle was going down. I was like, oh my gosh, is that? Oh wait, no, it's just this. It's just this. Okay.
Never mind.
Drat. Oh, drat. So yeah, that's what I did today. I did some light wrenching on the old, disassembled the front of the bike. So
that's always fun.
Yeah, it was good. It's good times. That means I have to get more bar tape.
Oh.
But it's fine. Yeah. And I have to get some, I don't think I have any more like electrical tape to attach the bar tape with. So that's fine. I wore my gloves today. It was fine. It was whatever. Who cares? I don't look.
If you've got gloves,
Yeah. So I'll double check and make sure it's like centered. That might be useful, right? But like, whatever. I don't. Pesky things like that. But it was close enough, I think. That's pretty much all I did today. Laundry, futzing with that. Oh, right. Let's see what I do over the weekend. I went to more graduation.
Even more.
Yeah. More graduation action. This time, once again, traveled far to the city of Bolivar again, right? This is really breaking my record of not going to Bolivar, right? It's really not working out for me here.
I think you're good for the next decade at this point.
I know.
In rapid succession is what I would say.
Yeah, right? It's almost like I know people that live there now. Weird. Anyway,
I would work on that personally.
So I went to I'm gonna tell her you said that, bro. She's gonna get mad at you. Went to the Bolivar graduation, right? And here it's very interesting, right? Some things I noticed about the Bolivar graduation.
Yes,
right. Obviously, much larger than my school, right? By many times, but a weird thing that I've never seen happen before occurred at this graduation, right? People were just leaving in the middle, right? They saw them cross the stage and they're like, all right, bye. And then they would just leave. Like,
you don't do that though.
But guys, it's not even that many people. It still was like under an hour, right? Just blah, 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 blah. But like, what? They're just like, they saw them, they're like, okay, bye. And then they just left.
That's bizarre. I mean,
they had the graduation at SBU, right? So it was like bigger. There was like, the gym is, bigger, and I don't know what that Bolivar High School gym looks like. Actually, I do. That's a lie. But, it's bigger than that. So there's lots of exit points. And so like getting out of there was not difficult when it was over. Like, just walk down the stairs and out the door. Done. So I don't know what these people were doing leaving.
I wonder
partway through the graduation. I've never seen this. Now, granted, do I go to many graduations? No.
Good question.
Right? Good question. Or especially graduations at other schools that I don't work at. No. But I've never seen this happen before. And I was taken aback, right? Shocked, I say. It was so weird.
That is weird.
What are you doing?
I mean, do you think these people were leaving to like go get the graduation party started for their people? Right?
Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Because it wasn't, sometimes it wasn't just like, it was like groups of people. It wasn't just like a person, it was like a whole section of people just left. Like, guys, it's not even that long, right? It's not even that big. Was it weird that they randomly said the Pledge of Allegiance in the graduation? Yeah, a little bit, but like,
that's new.
That kind of took me back. That's not a thing that normally happens either, but whatever. That's fine. If that's your school thing, yeah, you can do that. That's fine. Leaving in the middle of the graduation is the thing I have a problem with.
I do.
That was weird, right? That was weird.
Yeah.
I know. Listeners, let us know. Is this a phenomenon you have witnessed before? Because this was the first time I was confronted with it, and I honestly didn't really know how to handle this. Like, I was just like staring. Like, what is happening? One group next to us, they left, but one of the dudes like clearly wasn't interested. He like whipped out his phone halfway through. He was watching something on Amazon Prime. I think he was watching Bones of all things. Like, really, bro? You're watching that instead of That's what he watched instead of graduation. Was part of an episode of Bone on the old phone. I was like, that's a weird choice right now. First of all, and second, Graduation's not even that long, bro. What are you doing?
How do you? Maybe
even with like over 200 people, it was just like zip, zip, zip. You know, they're just like they know there's many people, so they're just like blam, 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 go. Like
doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't know
why.
It was so weird.
What a weird TV show to be watching.
I know.
It's been over with for like almost a decade at this point.
You know,
right?
he was an older guy. Maybe he just likes the show. I don't know.
Oh.
It was very strange. But that aside, the leaving in the middle, and it wasn't just like one group of people.
Oh.
Right? That's the thing that made me really like concerned about what was going on around here. Because like, you know, if like one family has like, or one part of the family has to leave, like one person, like,
yeah, that's
whatever.
what I was expecting.
That's like normal, but that's, you know, whatever. But this was like dozens of people.
Oh, I don't like that at all. How are you supposed to feel?
It was weird. Yeah, right. Like, you know, and you can't see all of them because they're like behind you or whatever. But like the seating is basically in the round in the basketball stadium. They like blanketed off one section behind the speakers, right? You know, the stage so that you could see. But like, it was still like you notice people leaving. It's very weird. I don't know. So I did that, and then also I was in another gym. Yes, it's all coming back to me now. I was also in another gymnasium on the day before that, on Saturday, right? Because one of Susan's PTA families invited her to their daughter's end of season dance recital. So I went to a small person dance recital. And it was weird. But like, it was in this little gym at like another local school, and it was like definitely they under prepared for the number of people coming to the end of season dance recital, because it was standing room only for children's dancing. Yeah, I know. What?
Hey.
It was very bizarre. Like all the relatives came.
Yeah.
Right? Now, does this dance studio have a lot of people that are part of it? Also, yes. But like, I think all the relatives came because it's like the end of school. It's the end of the season dancing. So like, there, by all accounts, from people that I heard talking there and what she talked about, I heard from the family that she went to see, this was not like this at the last dance recital. So something strange has happened. Like, But anyway, so we didn't stay for the whole thing. We watched the little girl. Luckily, she was on at the beginning because she is the smallest of girls. Right. So we left. But there was a side note that I needed to make sure that that I had to tell you about. Because I'm so we're watching these dance. Out on stage comes a group of small girls in tap shoes and bee costumes. And I started laughing. And I was hoping, I was like, oh my gosh, this has the potential to be the greatest thing ever. And then they didn't play the song that I thought they were going to. And I was sad.
What song did they play?
They played Flight of the Bumblebee, which, fair. Okay. And then there was another song about bugs that they played. But that, you know, that's fair. A little on the nose. Well, but fair. But do you know what song I was hoping for?
Yeah, this is what I don't think I don't think my brain's in the right place. No, I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know? I think you might know.
I think you're going to say it.
I'm referencing a very specific music video from the 90s.
Okay. Now this is it's yes. Hold on. Is it the no
yeah.
Is it No Rain?
Yeah, there it is. The Blind Melon song.
Why didn't they play that?
I wanted that so badly.
That would have been the perfect callback because, I mean,
I know.
I mean, the average age of the group of people in there, like,
yeah, like the dance instructor is definitely the right age.
Yeah,
for this. Okay, some of the parents may be a little young for Blind Melon. Okay, but like some of them are not. All right, some of them are not. They know. Okay,
they know. They know.
It's a ubiquitous. It's the most famous, one of the most famous music videos from the 90s ever. Yes. The Dancing Bee Girl. Right? Right? Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah. Right.
Nobody knows the words, but it's
fine. I knew the lyrics. I couldn't remember the name of the song, so I sang that. My phone came in handy. I sang the lyrics and it like immediately knew what I was talking about.
Nice.
Good job.
That's exactly what needs to happen here.
Good job. Assistant thing on the phone. This is what you're for.
You know what?
This is the only thing I need you from you.
That is what AI is good for. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's all I need. It's the only appropriate use for this right now. So
identify this obscure thing.
Yeah, this random song from I didn't realize it was a 1992 special.
That makes it that is shockingly old, and I'm not happy about that.
I thought it was later, right? Because I didn't think.
But I also think everything
hippie later. Revival action came till a little bit later, right? Like. Of course, it was immediately after Nirvana, and every band went, "Nope, can't do that anymore." Anyway,
yeah, just kidding.
Just kidding. But yeah, so so that was the other thing that I thought about this week. Was like, I was disappointed that there was no Blind Melon. Yeah. Right. Also, I'm putting Blind Melon preemptively on my short list for Missouri State Fair bands for next year because I think that would be beautiful. It's exactly the right.
Oh, that is so much
exactly the right thing. So I know. I'm gonna have to make a note of this somewhere and remember that's going on there. Okay, so listeners, mark my words. Next year, State Fair music draft, Blind Melon. I'm down for that one. I put a note on my phone here. I'm gonna make a notes thing right now.
That's really
new. Yes. No, I don't need AI help for this. Okay, I don't. You can't help me here, AI. You cannot.
No, see where this. That's the skill. That's a skill set. You can't. No computer's going to get that.
No. Damn, calling it State Fair bands.
That is of State Fair energy. Like that is some primo stuff.
All right, sure. I have a note. I need to move this note because that can't go in the first spot. That's not allowed.
I don't know.
I can't do that. No,
I think you need to keep it in the first spot so you don't forget about it.
I cannot. I can't. What? Oh no! I have to move these things. Okay. I have to figure out how to do this. Oh no!
I'm just listening.
I'll work on that later.
I'm watching the music video of Blind Melon.
You see
on just silently, and it's inextricable. I don't. Mm-hmm. They're standing on the grassy hill from Windows Windows 95, and the girl is going around.
Yes, it's so.
Yeah, I don't really understand, but it's great. It's good stuff. The jiving hand motions. Everyone's in a bee costume.
But at the end, right? It's beautiful because they find. Mm-hmm. She finds her people.
Yep, and they're all in
everything is
together.
Fine. Yeah, it's an extended metaphor.
Yes,
disguised as a music video. You love to see it, right? It's exactly
as only the late '90s could bring.
I know.
It's
hair beautiful.
Is gorgeous. Anyway,
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's just man. That's a shock to the system to watch that thing today.
Yes, it was mine as well. So
you watched. You were.
And then I was like, I was trying to explain this to Susan, and she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I played her the song, and she goes, "Oh, I know the song." I was like, "See, everybody knows the song.
Everybody knows the song.
They all know,
even though they don't want to admit it, or they've just forgotten because
they forgot is what they've done.
That's fine.
Yeah. So there you go.
Huh.
then there you go. I'll let you go because I have a returning segment, but I want to hear from you first. I want to hear how you've been doing. Closing deals and.
Well, I just realized my Zoom window is lost. Oh, here we are. Sorry. Because I had to cough, and I was like, I need to mute for this one. This week has been,
I can never remember the key, right? Like,
I don't do the fast because I don't do the hotkeys because I in my ADHD intensity, I'm clicking on like 17. I'm rotating between 17 different windows.
That's fair.
Like doing different things because I have to fidget. No, this week was really good. We had some pretty intense thunderstorms and tornadoes kind of in the area. That kind of was interesting. We spent our first time in the basement because of those tornado sirens. I wouldn't have gone down, but I have children who are like the first tornado started. It started and Lillian was standing on the stairs going, "We're going down to the basement." I was like, "Hey, okay, let's go."
All right, let's go.
Okay. But we've been doing a lot. We've set out a camera so we could try and catch what was eating our strawberry patch. Turns out it's just everything. Birds, squirrels, rabbits. I'm pretty sure that we have a large groundhog somewhere in our neighborhood that made an appearance on our front porch. Not our front porch, but in our front yard. So, which is weird because we're in the city, but they make homes everywhere, right? So,
true.
So we set out one to try and catch that, and we've only just caught cats, which is fine. But then Dad came up last week for a ball game, and with him he brought. So we were down at his house. I was down, and I had noted, like, oh wow, that flower looks very pretty. What's that called? And he said, "Oh, it's yarrow." And I went, "Man, that's a pretty flower."
Uh-oh.
So he showed up.
Shouldn't have said that. Yeah, he's in.
We all know where this is going.
We all know what's happening.
So he showed up with 2 yarrow plants.
Of course.
To my house. And this was, Megan and I have been doing a lot of discussion about redoing our front flower beds anyway. I don't like them. They had the thorn bushes, those barberries. Right. Like we used to have
ubiquitous.
Yeah,
landscaping. I think our school has a bunch of those in front of it too.
We used to have them around at Dad's growing up too. Yes. And people like them because they grow year round. They're just kind of bland and not offensive.
Thorn bush, guys,
and it's a thorn bush. We're putting a hazard in this.
Exactly.
We've long not liked this, and then we also had these weird low growing. It's not a yew, but it's kind of like a yew in bushes, and they never really were doing really well. And then last year one died, and I just ripped it out, and instead I put a planter in it, and I kind of liked it. But we were like, well, these yews are not healthy. We're gonna have to rip all this out anyway. And then Dad shows up with two yarrows, and
perfect.
Apparently that was enough to send Megan and I into an absolute frenzy of ripping all of the bushes out.
Oh well, there you go. Gotta make way for the new ones.
Yep, we did. We ripped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bushes.
Good grief!
Yeah, 5 barberries and 3 of the big yew bushes things. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, all the not yew yews.
Yes, the not yew yews. I don't know what these things are. They're ridiculous. Anyway, and then we ripped them out. Then we're like, well, we have 2 yarrow. I guess we should go figure out what else we're going to put in these.
Fair.
So we put the yarrow, kind of like arranged them gently, and then went and stood in Lowe's for an hour, walking back and forth. And what we have come up with, my vision for this was, our town is called, was called, and it's still not many people use it. It was called the Queen of the Prairie.
By you, that's who called it.
I still call it this. But back whenever they had the big railroad and they put the cattle drives would come up from Texas to here on their way to Chicago, it was a big bustling town. It was called Queen of the Prairie, and it's a prairie town. And so I'm like, we have to get prairie bush. We have to get
back when Missouri was the West.
This is I was
1820. That's what this was.
I mean, even back in the early 1900s, when our house was built, right, it was still called Queen the Queen City, Queen of the Prairie, but it is mostly from its heyday in the mid to late 1800s. So I'm like, look, it's a prairie house, it's a prairie build, it's in a prairie city called Queen of the Prairie. We need prairie grasses. Like, I want that.
Fair. Right.
So,
what would Laura Ingells do? Right. Yeah, that's really what we have to know.
Right. So we ended up getting some very big prairie grasses are going to grow, 5 feet tall. Because Megan's stipulation was she wanted something present in the winter. She didn't want it to just be, barren and die. Yeah, barren. So I'm like, well, grasses, they're going to grow up to be giant, and then we get cool like rustling and stuff out front. So that's what we did.
Yes, the rustling. Yes,
it's very important. And then we got some other like shrubs that are like 2 foot by 2 foot.
What sounds bushes. Do your plants make? That's what you gotta think about in landscaping.
Your landscape,
the ambiance of the porch going to be like?
Yes, your landscape can shape the soundscape. It's a common mnemonic.
There we go.
That we use in the biz. But it's ridiculous. Anyway, I broke a shovel trying to get up one of the bushes, so we had to buy a shovel, which Megan was like,
"Oh no,
really? You did this?" I'm like, I was trying to save time. I was going to like a little hunka to like leverage up the plant, and it was really close. And I gave it a little extra hunka, and the wooden handle on this just shattered. And the other reason, other reason that we were doing this so fast was because our city does a citywide cleanup. And so you can put any trash and crud that you want out,
yes.
And they will come with a giant claw and just take it away.
That's a good reason to do this.
And so I'm like, we've got to get this done this weekend. And because they're coming on Monday, like Monday. So we got in. We really like it. Got some nice pretty flowers in there too, in between grasses. So we'll see how it matures. We'll see how it matures and grows. And then we got a bunch more rain. And then this week we've been working on, you mentioned the business thing. I don't know if I ever told you, 3.5 years ago, I went into that property management company and I'd asked for a meeting and they were very happy to have me in. And I was going to offer them that I'd like to be their preferred vendor, that if they get a request that they would just refer out to us and we would, work one-on-one. And I sat and talked with them for an hour as they peppered me with operational things, structural things, softwares that we used, insurances, all this stuff. And in my exuberance, I thought, well, I am impressing these people. So I talked a lot, as I am wont to do. And then 3 months later, they rolled out their own internal program. Offering these services.
They just pumped you for information.
Just pumped me for information.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and they offer their own internal services to their residents. And so they, for the last 3 years, I guess, roughly 3 years, that's what they've been doing. Is if somebody contacts the leasing manager, they would handle all of this internally. It was wrapped into a larger package of like, you could enroll in that. You could also get house cleaning services. You could also get laundry services, and you could also get not complimentary, but you could also get car rental services too. Like all of this was in this weird life services package deal. And then about a month ago, I got a phone call, and it was from the guy who I had met with, and he was like, "Hey, you probably don't remember me." And I was like, "Oh,
I remember you.
I do."
Loki. Like, we get
yeah. And, he explained to me what was going on. And he was like, "I was wondering if you'd come in and sit down. We'd like to have a meeting and talk with you. And can you do it in like 2 days?" And I went, "Hey, sure. Why not? Let me just show up, see what you're doing." And in that meeting, I learned that over the last 3 years, the program has slowly deteriorated and fell apart because they had one person in charge of it, and that person left under unsure circumstances. They tried to replace that person, but couldn't quite get it. And they were to the point over the last year where they were having like the leasing manager go and do these services.
Oh, yeah.
And they realized that this was not good. And because for some reason, when they launched these, they decided that they wanted to offer they were going to, how do I say this? They were going to contract out the house cleaning, and they were going to in-house the pet services. And hearing them say that, I was like, why?
That's backwards.
Right. Yeah. And so they were like, we realized that was backwards, and so we're flipping this now. And then they just dropped it on us, and they were like, hey, we want you to take over this entire program, and you just do it. And it's not like they're getting out of this thing. What they are doing is they are pumping this to and they haven't been marketing this at all. So over the last couple of years, it's just slowly like dwindled. But
yeah.
They are wanting to make this a better thing. And so now to all 17 of their properties, they're going to...
Lord.
And this is why I've been really stressed this past week.
Fair.
They are wanting to now make this so that it is this property management company's pet services as rendered by us. Like it's all co-branded. It's all like our logo's right there next to theirs. We're giving them language to use, and people sign up internally through them, and then they reach out to us, and then we take that over. And yeah, and so it's like really intense. And I've never had to parse so many documents before, and I've never had to. It's caused a lot of logistics concerns because right now it's a pretty small program. Again, see aforementioned like the past 3 years, because they were having like maintenance workers and lawn crews taking the care of these things, and really have no system for this. And we kind of come in with like a bull in a china shop, and we're like, out of my way. And so it's little things like, when you arrive, you just need to go check in at the leasing office to make sure that they know you're here. And I'm like, cool. Is the leasing office going to be open at 6 a.m. on Christmas? And they're like, well, no. And then I'm like, well, then I can't do that. So what do I do? The little things like that, that we have to work through. But today I went and picked up some co-branded lanyards for us to have, because that was another aspect of this of like, well, you're on site, people need to know who you are and why you're here. Totally understand that.
That's fair, yeah.
But like I can't be checking in and checking out because you're not going to be there, right? Like, sure, if I'm there,
the leasing office open at 10:30 at night, right?
No, they're not. Or New Year's, or Christmas, or Thanksgiving. They're not going to be there. And also
holidays, or
also, I know how leasing offices worked. They're also closed all the time throughout the day.
Yeah,
right.
They have like a very narrow. You have to like call for appointments a lot of times. They're not just like open.
Well, and a lot of times the leasing manager is in there going, bup-a-dup-a-dup-a-dup. Oh, somebody just came in. They want to show, and I need to show them an apartment. Let me lock up, put my out-of-office sign up, and I'm going to go walk the property, right? I'm going to be on property. Well, I show up. What are we going to do? Right? You can't.
Yeah, wait for them. Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
So yes. So this is still in very early days. But man, it was so weird. Like, to go through all of this, and they have been very gracious and very open about this entire process, and have it multiple times. Yeah, they've basically just been like, and it's because one of the people that is there is a big proponent of saying, like, I can tell they're going, we're tired of dealing with this, and whatever you need, we will take care of, right? like whatever you need, We will do, because we're tired of this.
We don't want to do it.
We don't want to. So it has the potential to get like really, really big and really, really scary. And
also, yes.
And it didn't land quite so well. Like, I realized we've got to go to our team with this and talk to our team about this, and because like they're gonna know, like they're gonna notice if all of a sudden like the largest property management company in our area is being like co-branding mass marketing materials and TV commercials and inviting us to go do all this stuff.
Yeah, when they drive by and see themselves on a sign, they're like, wait a minute. What? Hold on.
Might have some questions here. So, and what was unfortunate is that like the week before we had sent out a survey and we're like, hey everybody, we know it's been busy the past month or two, like want to get a pulse check. How are you feeling about the number of hours that you're getting, right? Like, are you getting too few? Like, do you want more? Do you want less? Or are you happy with what you're getting? And like 80% of the team responded with they were happy with the amount of hours that they were getting. And then we plopped this down and I'm like, what if
what if there was more though?
What if there was more though? Right. And so it was good. It was good talking to them about that and have some legitimate concerns again that Megan and I are kind of like throwing our hands up like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this is going to work. We go to the property, the company, and they're big, like they're big corporation. They're in multiple states. And they're holding up their hands going, we don't know how this is going to work. We've never done a relationship like this before. And I'm like, awesome. This is
hooray.
Really scary. I mean, it's simple things like, how do we do an onboarding of a client? How do we bring them into our system and merge with your system? How do you know that they've booked with us and are moving forward? How do we keep you in the loop? And that's the other thing too of I have been out of businessy culture for a long time. And when I worked for the state, it was very heavy on using like CC on emails.
Oh yeah.
I haven't had to CC an email in 5 years because I just send it to whom I need to send it, and I didn't hit reply all to an email, and I kind of got my hand slapped, and I was like, oh right, there will be 15 people on this email, and I can't just absentmindedly hit reply.
Mm-hmm.
I have to hit reply all. Because for some reason, all of them hate their lives enough that they all want to be on this email thread of me going back and forth discussing intricate details of this process. Sure. Have fun, people.
This is the opposite of how the school email works, right? Everybody hits reply all and they don't need to. Like that's the...
Yeah, and they don't. No, they should not be, right?
Yeah, you should be like, oh, why are you doing this? What is happening? I don't need to know your answer to this question. Just that's awkward. Even though most times it's like, yes, like it's still annoying things in my inbox that I don't want in there.
Yeah.
And then when you need to go back and look at the original email, you have to like futz with a lot of things because it like collapses the window and you're like, you can only see the last 5 responses. And you're like, I need to see the original body. Look at
yeah. Yep.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Man. So it's been kind of unreal and a bit surreal to go through this process. Extremely thankful for it, but obviously have some big hurdles coming up because just logistically, how do we act? How do we keep track of things? Codes are all different. Like there's just so much that now I'm like, well, this wasn't on my 2025 bingo card, but like I'm not, like mad, but now I'm like, this is going to be a lot of work.
Yeah. Like that's a lot. Holy cow.
Yeah. But we have, we're like, okay, well, this may provide us and afford us an ability to actually actually elevate people to team leads or like part-time, like daily managers kind of positions. Because my biggest concern is that, especially in the early days, that this will be like an 80-20 problem where it's only generating like 20% of our revenue, but it costs us 80% of our problems in overhead and admin headaches of all of these emails back and forth, right? Like, in all of these processes that are now having to go into place for us to be tracking and monitoring and keeping our hands in and, knowing where things are. That could easily eat up all of my day and attention just tending to this, but it's actually not a big part of the business. And so trying to make sure that we get people to realize of like this, like we cannot be having 5 different handoffs for each new person that comes on.
Oh yeah, no. Right? It would be a mess.
I cannot be doing that. I cannot be doing a personal introduction to every property manager. I cannot have that. I cannot be doing all of these little things, because if this does blow up, like, that will swamp us. I will be doing nothing but tending to this. And there is a very easy way for us to, do this in a clean manner. It's just, are they going to be up for that, given how they've operated in the past and how they, what kind of control people want to have?
Man, nice.
So, yeah. So we are trucking along. We are going to see.
This is a lot of like very strange challenges that like.
Yeah. Right. Like, and now I'm going, yeah, and it's also trying to get them to understand the world of what we actually do, because there was a lot of things of like, oh, well, we'll just have the client, the resident. That was the other thing. Like, we call them clients, they call them residents. Like, we'll just have the resident call the leasing office, and then the leasing office can reach out to such and such, and they'll reach out to you. And I'm like, whoa.
That's too long of a chain occurring here.
Well,
like,
also time delay. I had to tell them, like, do you know how many requests we get for services the next day at 10 o'clock at night? And they were like, what? I said, yeah, that's when people want to book their services. They're done from home. They're done from work. They've had dinner. They're relaxing. They're planning out their day. And then they go,
oh crap! Tomorrow I
need, or it's Friday and they're booking for the weekend, or it's Sunday morning, right? Like, people book at weird hours. Like,
yeah.
I get
like, believe me, sir or madam, I also wish that people thought about this more in advance.
Yes,
but they don't.
Yes, yeah. So I just told them, like, the less human interaction, because there was like,
just the less links in that chain. That needs to be. That's too much of a delay, right? Like,
yeah. And also, I'm like, the other thing I was trying to really impress upon them was, you don't need to reinvent this wheel. We've solved this.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. You're contracting us to deal with this. So let us deal. Okay, here's what we do.
Yes.
Okay, done. Ta-da.
Yes. This is exactly that of, you let us tell you how this is going to work. And so we had a whole meeting where I had generated an entire document of a workflow for onboarding and the various touch points and who was responsible for what and how it was going to do it and what information they got. And then it was like, and then I think what really clicked for them was when I said, once they're in our software, they book whenever they want without having to talk to a single person. And they were like, oh, that sounds really nice. And I'm like,
it is.
It is.
That's why we do it like that.
Yeah. We become more available to them. They don't have to make a phone call. Why do that?
Yeah. And they don't have to do all the stuff. They just log in and go, click.
Boom. Right? Like, that's it.
Please.
That's it. And so that's that's the other big lifting here of like how this actually needs to work to be convenient. Yeah. Because in their mind, it makes total sense of like, they want to provide this like high-end, high-touch service, but also they don't want to be available or can't be available 24/7, 365. And so we're trying to come with some realism of like, here's how you are available 24/7, 365. Like, here's how you have contact and touch points. Here's how we've solved that. So just like smile and nod and say yes to what I'm telling you, because it's going to work. It's going to work. You know? Like, just say, just trust me. It's going to be fine. So it's been wild. And yeah, so we've been working through, again, signing bunches of documents, way too much paperwork. It's not my fave, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah. So
well, there we go.
That's
much headaches, and no funness, right? Like,
no. I will say though, real quick in closing, it's not nearly as fun as the other thing we've been doing this week, though.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Because
here we go.
We did rescue a robot.
What?
Yeah, we rescued a robot.
What in the Iron Giant is going on? How does a person rescue a robot?
Our neighbor.
Did you steal one of the Boston Dynamics dogs?
No.
Okay, good. They will send the sentry dogs after you, right? And
did I tell you we met one of those?
At the air show when you tried to go into the wrong hangar, right?
It was fun.
In the Top Gun show when they come out and ushered you away.
And our neighbor was walking so it's the neighborhood cleanup, right? So everybody's taking their junk out to the side of the road, and it's the time of year where like we like going out and like finding cool stuff or weird stuff and fixing it up and doing that kind of stuff. It's also that time of year where the pilfers come by, the scrap metalists.
Yes.
Those people are out. So
the secret success to citywide cleanup is the city picks up only part of the stuff that gets set out on the curb.
Yes. Everyone's like, how is the city going to throw all of this away? And ladies and gentlemen, they don't, because by the time they get around,
people not in the Midwest, is this a thing that happens like where you live? Because this is very common here. Like, I used to work with a guy and he like knew the days. He was like into like furniture repair. Stuff. And so he was all about it. Yeah. He would go and he would get all kinds of stuff. And then he would just like refinish like a table and then sell that sucker.
Yeah.
Like
Megan and I, when we were in Texas, we used to do this. We'd go around and there was no joke. Like, we managed to, I think we did this. We went around and it was citywide cleanup, and we hit some, somebody had a garage sale and there was a whole bucket of things that didn't sell. And we're we'll grab this. I think we made like $1,500 off of all these items after we had like cleaned it up. Some guy threw us like DJI drones that he was like, oh, these are broken. I can't, and I fixed them and they were just fine. Like that kind of stuff. Well, so I will say this year was good to us. Our neighbor was throwing away this couch because he was like, I just don't have room for this couch. And I was like, is there anything wrong with this couch? And he said, nope. And I went, I would like your couch. So we picked it up and carried it across our street.
Okay, Aaron, what the heck?
And put it. We have this front room that's had nothing in it. It's had this lonely table in there that we harvested the chairs from to make our dining room chairs because we like them better. And then there's just been a table that's kind of been like a semi-workbench in our front of our house. It's been weird. And so what I did was we took this couch, which is beautiful, and it's white, or it's cream color, and it's great. It fits right in this wall. I took this little round table that we had. I chopped off 18 inches of it, and I turned it into a coffee table. And now I'm like, hey, we've got a coffee table.
Oh, you mean like the legs? Okay,
the legs. Yeah, not like the sides or diameter.
I was like, that's weird. Why would you?
It was supposed to be like a breakfast nook table thing. It was kind of round.
Oh, okay, like a pub table kind of.
Yeah, kind of like a taller. Yeah, but the top was it is a little wide. Anyway, it's slammed down. It's a coffee table now. Perfect. And now all of a sudden, look, I made a coffee table, which Megan was like, we don't need a coffee table. Guess what table is awesome for putting puzzles together on?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You always need a coffee table, right?
Always
it's important, right? Yeah. I have one in this room right now. It really doesn't this room is too small to be having a coffee table. But do I care? No. Because I have.
Because you have one.
And,
yeah.
Is it impractical? Yes. Am I going to keep it? Also, yes. Like, I don't.
But now it's like this great little spot. And then I realized that we had room for 2 little sitting chairs, but I didn't have sitting chairs until my neighbor, who we also pilfered the couch from, set out some chairs. And I went, is there anything wrong with these wood chairs? And he's like, well, the rungs on the bottom are kind of broken. And I went, I have glue. So now we've got 2 chairs.
Boom.
We're sitting here. And then my next door neighbor was throwing out a ton of stuff. And we have, again, I know all these people, and so it's fine. But
also, even if you don't know the people, they don't care. They don't want it anymore.
They're putting it out there.
Yeah.
So he walks out and he puts this entryway table. You know, one of those, like, it's tall and really narrow but long. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't have a spot for it right now, but I can find a place for this thing because it's nice. And then he comes out and he puts this little robot vacuum on top of it. And now I'm really interested because this thing is also like shiny. It's not dusty. And I'm like, well, then that hasn't been used. And so I'm walking over and I'm looking at the table and he comes out and he's like, yeah, this is my grandma's table. It's just been sitting in our garage and we don't have room for it. And it just needs to go somewhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, the vacuum thing. He goes, oh yeah, the LiDAR swivel on it, it's busted. And I think you're going to have, he said, I read up on it. You've got to like crack the whole thing open and it's got this band in the middle that you've got to replace. And then that will make it work again. And I'm like, okay, cool. And at that point I'm thinking, like Dad did for us, like, I'll take this, I'll throw it at my children, give them a screwdriver and we'll work on it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right. But if it does, so I get it, I plug it in.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like self-emptying ones too, where it will dock and then it'll suck everything out of the base.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, well, okay. And I'm reading up on this and it's like, oh, does it say the LiDAR sensor is broken and won't turn? Here's what you do. You stick a Q-tip into this little notch and then you, not violently, but assertively, make it rotate. They said, force it to rotate and this will solve it. Because what happens is in especially like dog hair and stuff.
In the history of electronics has that ever been said before.
I know. It was
make it move.
Just make it move. What can happen is debris and hair can get caught down in the little gears that make this thing turn.
Okay.
And it won't do it because it won't damage itself. But if you force it and it like kind of pushes through that, then it will move. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to try that before I start cracking this open. And I stuck it in and I went left. And I was like, oh, it turns really easy to the left. And I went to the right. And I was like, oh, it goes to the right. And I hit a spot. And I was like, oh, I'll just push through. And it went, shoomp, and it started just spinning freely. And I went, oh,
nailed it.
So I plugged it in and then it like did all the setup and I was like, okay, moment of truth. And it was like, boop-a-doo, and like did a little scan run of our house where it just basically went to every room and like looked around and then moved on. It was really weird. And then it came back and docked and I got like a map of our home of all the rooms and stuff and like labeled. And now it runs every other day at night and just vacuums the whole downstairs. And then I'm like, well, this was a good find.
There you go.
Good job, me. I rescued a robot. Its name is Roz from the Wild Robot series.
Nice.
And the kids love watching it. This is the most important aspect of it. They also, at the end of its vacuuming run, it will give you a map of where it vacuumed and where it had trouble. So you can go and like what was there that prevented it from being vacuumed. That's always fun to see. It's mission. It calls it mission complete.
Well,
yes.
Well, hey,
yes. Very good. Very
nice.
fun stuff. So, big week.
Nice.
That's what I'll say.
Find, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. But
I did one more thing this week.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Is this
for you
segment?
A returning segment.
Love it.
Right. Segment number 3? Question mark. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the return of Fugue State movie reviews.
Oh, nice.
Gasp. Gasp.
Remind our listeners what Fugue State movie reviews is all about.
All right. So this is a personal mission of mine, right? There's a lot of movies in my life that I've seen bits of. And I've seen them once, and I have no idea what they are. Right? So Fugue State movie reviews is my attempt to discover these movies that, like, I just remember they were like on in the background somewhere, and I remember like a bit of them, and like I don't know, a lot of them come from like like Fox used to do like the midnight movie or whatever, right? And so they would just play something like all the time, and I think it was Fox, maybe even, but like they would just play a movie like late at night, especially on the weekends. They would just play movies, right? These are seemingly now, when I'm trying to discover these, the most random movies of all time, right? And so I've done 2. I did 2. The one was the airplane movie. I looked it up earlier from our show notes, and I can't remember what it's called. The Pepper one, right, with Robert Redford.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one was the dragon movie, right? It's an animated movie about a dragon. Right.
Huh.
So I found a third one.
I do have to real quick and say, if you aren't interested in listening to the previous Fugue State movie reviews, the first version of this was actually episode 143, which shares the title Fugue State movie reviews. And then there's episode 183, which was Build an Umbrella, which was also featured this. So you can go back and listen to that.
That's what I thought.
This is part 3.
That's what I thought. I did some research on our site there, and I thought this was part 3. Okay, so boom, here we go. I have for you a movie that has long haunted my dreams, right? And according to the internet, many other people's as well. This movie is famous for one scene. One, right?
Okay.
Even Quentin Tarantino, allegedly, because apparently Quentin Tarantino writes on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is known for one scene, right? And it was a little more traumatic of a scene when I was younger. Watching it back the other day, I was like, oh, that's it? Like, I don't even make a big deal about it. Right? Anyway, this is 1971's Sometimes a Great Notion, which, to be fair, is not a good movie title, right?
No.
Like, just one.
No.
The alternate title that this film is sometimes shown under is Never Give an Inch.
Huh.
Yes. This is starring your boy, Paul Newman.
Paul Newman is this movie?
In a directorial capacity as well.
Oh.
So this is the never young Paul Newman, because apparently even in 1971, the dude was 46 years old. So I don't know. Right?
That's crazy.
Guy is the world's oldest person. Also, co-starring, the other big name in this movie is, of course, Henry Fonda. Whoa! What a returning feature on the show as well, right?
Yes.
Featured in the review, of course, of 12 Angry Men. Anyway, this movie is about logging in Oregon in the 1970s.
Okay. I'm reading the synopsis of, it's not just of loggers, it's of fiercely independent loggers.
Oh yes. Right. Struggle to keep the family business alive amidst changing times and competition from big lumber companies. That second one, not 100% true, right? Also, the Google summary of In a Nutshell says this movie is gutsy, intense, and menacing. That is no, none of those things are true. Right. This movie also has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but only 14 reviewers on that
that's
section.
not good.
So of the tomato thing, the popcorn rating is 77, which feels more correct.
Yeah,
that feels right. The 100% is, I don't know. That is incorrect. Right. Anyway, so this movie is about very stubborn, grumpy old men in Oregon in the 1970s. Right.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a minute. So the movie starts off with, I didn't know what this movie was about, really. I didn't do any research other than I found the thing, right? I was looking for the scene and then this movie came up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And then I start watching it. And for the first several minutes, I really have no clue what's going on. Right? Because it's just like about a family of loggers. And it's just like family bantering. You know that Henry Fonda has fallen out of a tree and injured himself because he's got his arm in this big like cast, like 1970s cast where he has to hold his arm out like 90 degrees to the side.
Oh, nice.
Right? Like one of those. So like he's very clearly injured. But like you don't find out that he fell out of a tree till a little bit later.
Oh.
Right? So the first thing I wrote down is the sound mixing. Why is the rain so loud?
Really brings you into it, huh?
They're trying to, yeah. I was like, I couldn't hear what they're saying because I could just hear the rain. What's basically happening here is the lumber company workers are on strike, right? They're not working. Okay. But the Stamper family is an independent log organization, and they don't care about the corporation versus union shenanigans that are happening around them. They just want to get down to the business of working because hard work and independence and something or other, right? So they don't care. So they're just going about their life. And the town is very, very angry at them because while all the people are on strike, the town is like losing money, right? And they're mad at the Stampers for some reason because like I don't really know why. You only ever hear from the union people. You don't really hear from the lumber corp people, right? Like about why, but apparently them continuing to work is bad for the union negotiation, which kind of makes sense, right? But so the town is very angry because the rest of the people in the town work for the logging union and they're really grumpy, right? With the family, right? So they're getting pressure to support the strike, but they don't want to not work because hard work in America and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's basically the whole movie right there. Like, if you are named Mike Rowe and you you like this movie, right?
Okay.
If you've ever said the phrase, nobody wants to work anymore, this is the movie for you.
I see.
Right?
Yes.
This is like hardcore, like old school, like 70s manliness, right? It doesn't necessarily 100% translate to like 2025 because like the way that like they treat the wives is not really very good. And like, like do like, you know, do the women even get to talk at the breakfast table? No,
they're too busy making the food. What are you talking about?
I mean, yes, but this is brought to light by the long lost brother returning to help the family. He's been wandering about, and I believe he's a step brother as well, right? He's supposed to be Paul Newman's brother, but I think he's a step brother, because there's a whole side plot thing later with the mom. And so they don't have the same mother, right? But anyway, he comes in from like, far and wide. And we get the one joke of the movie. 70s humor. Oh, long hair is weird.
Right.
Like, where'd you get all that hair? And he just, like, 5 people ask him that question. And he just goes, well, it grows. And that's it. That's it. 5 times that happens. Right?
Wow.
And there's lots of, like, suggestive talk about him being girly because he's got long hair. Like, girls have long hair,
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, that was funny. So I also wrote down 30 minutes and nothing. That's it. That's the first 30 minutes of the movie.
What?
Yeah, that's it. This is a very slow movie. Extremely slow. I did, full disclosure, I did not watch this all in one sitting. I definitely paused several times and like went and did other things and then came back. So like, because it just drags on, right? After I wrote 30 minutes of nothing happening, they take brother guy to work. And then we get a very, very long sequence of just logging. That's it. It's just them logging. That's all there is. Right? This is one of those also like very like 70s kinds of movies about like a job. Right? Like the whole movie is just like people doing the job, like trucking or stuff like that's it. It's just it. They're just logging.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just them logging.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Look, you're supposed to be, I suppose, being introduced to how logging works through the eyes of the newcomer logger guy, Leland, right? The long lost brother guy. Sure. But like, this is like 10 minutes of just logging.
Mm.
And I don't like, it's a bit much, right? And then like, yeah, so that's kind of it. There's just a lot of stuff that happens for like the middle part of this movie is just like them doing work and the town being mad about them working, right? There is a town festival / motorcycle race ? And they go to that. People move away from their picnic table when they see who's sitting there because they don't want to be associated with those filthy non-union Stamper family. Lame. Paul Newman, of course, races motorcycles, but then he like crashes and then he just like leaves. Like,
he's just done.
Yeah, he just like quits the race. And he just like drives the motorcycle over to the picnic thing. And then they play football with people on the beach, I guess. Right? And they're like, I mean, Oregon has beaches, so like whatever, but they go play football on the beach. I guess the joke is they're like, you want to play a game of touch football? And it is just full tackle football at the beach. Like that's no.
Oh, because it's more manly. Yeah.
That. Yeah, exactly. So there's that. We get a bit of backstory about Paul Newman's wife and about how she's, disillusioned with the life. She's, doesn't like it, and it's been tumultuous, and like there's a bit of a moment between like her and the brother character, but like it's not like a romantic moment. It's just like a, the I don't know, like sparkle in the eyes moment, but that's as far as it goes, right? And then there's that, right? So she's disillusioned. She doesn't like the way that they are. She doesn't like the rugged manliness, I guess, of Henry Fonda. It's kind of annoying, really. So the other brother, Joe, his actual name is Joe Ben, which I did not pick up on until the end of the movie. Like, I don't know most of these characters' names either, by the way. Just like did that good of a job. Because one problem is Henry Fonda's character's name is Henry, and Paul Newman's character's name is Hank.
Well, it's not good.
It's not like super memorable.
No.
Right? So that's awkward. Anyway, so you got Henry Fonda's Henry, Paul is Hank, and then Joe Ben, and then the long hair guy's Leland, right? Whatever. So they're doing that. There's just like random things. They interact with like a movie theater owner who's like wants him to stop, and then the union offices bother Paul Newman so much. In the one action scene in the movie, he takes a big giant 4-foot bar chainsaw and saws one of their desks in half, and then just walks away anticlimactically.
Yeah.
Anyway. Right now, so the middle of this movie is basically nothing happening, right? Allegedly, people on the internet say there's good family character development. I don't think that's true. Right? So we come to the end, right? There's Henry Fonda is better. His cast is gone. He's ready to get back to work because working makes you a man. Well, stuff. Right. So they go, and the wife, Paul Newman's wife, is like, listen, we could just remember how we used to just not do this. Remember how we used to, they met in like Colorado or something a long time. Like, I remember she goes this big thing about, remember how, we could just stay in bed and I'll bring you your breakfast in here. We can just be together, blah, blah, blah. And Henry Fonda comes in and is like, let's go to work, sonny boy. And he's like, okay, Dad, let's go. And he just leaves.
Ooh.
Cutting trees in the Oregon wilderness. And oh no, the tree breaks, right? It like splits halfway up, right? And it like twists around and it slams into Henry Fonda, right? Like it basically rips his other arm off.
Oh,
right? Yeah, in a very dramatic thing. And like it pins him to this tree, splits, it flails around crazily. It slams into Henry Fonda, and then the other guy, Joe, like falls into the water, right? So we got our 4 brothers out there, or 3 brothers and dad out there. So Leland, the long-haired guy, takes Henry Fonda to the hospital. Okay. And Paul Newman goes to check on Joe. Okay. But Joe he lands in the water and some like log is like laying on top of him in the river. Okay. And I wrote, it's the part. This is the part that I remember. Right. Oh. Because they've been talking about the tide rising. Right. The last little bit of the movie, the tide. They've been talking about the tide. The tide. So they're in this river, which is apparently tidal, because they're close to the mouth. And he's trapped. He's laying in the water. He's like sitting in the water with this big log over top of him. And he's kind of like, the water's up to like his upper chest, right? But the water is coming up and he's stuck. And Paul Newman is just all like, I'll just get my chainsaw and just cut you out, blah, blah, blah. And he's just cutting the log. And Joe is just like hanging out. He like thinks it's cool. He's like, it's no big deal. I'm just stuck. It doesn't hurt. Whatever. I'm just stuck in the thing. But as he's cutting with the chainsaw, like the water, I guess, running through the bar, like messes up the engine and the chainsaw dies. And so Joe is just stuck under this log. And they're trying to see if as the tide rises, will it float the log off of him? But no, the log like rolls backwards and he's pinned underwater. And Paul Newman is giving him mouth to mouth while he's trapped underwater so that he can breathe. This is the part of the movie that I remember from the television.
It's terrifying.
Right? Yeah, right. He's like trapped underwater and like he's like tapping Paul Newman, and then he'll like blow out and he taps him, and then Paul like dives underwater and like gives him mouth to mouth, right?
Oh.
But eventually, Joe just he can't, he dies. He can't. They can't do this for long enough that he can get the log off of him, and he dies. Right, so he dies in the log.
Okay.
Yeah. So, cut to the hospital. Right, Henry Fonda is also dying from severed arm. Right, but he has a little small speech about how he accepts his long lost son. He's proud of him for coming back and working, proving that he's a man. And then he dies.
What?
So, yes, Henry Fonda dies. During all this time, Paul Newman's wife just leaves. She's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. Boom, gone.
Oh.
Right? So, what are they to do? Small montage of Paul Newman being sad, drinking in a cabin. They have all of these logs, and they can't get them to the lumber mill because there's only 2, and surely there's no way 2 men can raft these 4 to 5 giant log rafts all the way down the river.
But
so you would think.
Yeah.
If one of them wasn't named Paul Newman, right? The Stampers can do it, right? Also, I have a side note here that I just wrote, man, what in the world, what in the 1970s is happening? Why are so many people in this movie wearing white pants? This is a really weird thing for lumberjacks to be doing, I think, is there's just lots and lots of men wearing white pants. And at one point, Paul Newman is wearing just a completely white outfit. He's white painter pants and a white denim jacket. And what is this? I don't know if he's supposed to be the hero, all in white. Anyway, so they start floating these logs down. There's one guy in the boat. Long-haired brother is in the boat pulling the log raft, right? And then they've made the log raft is a very interesting thing, right? Basically, they've made these big diamond-shaped things out of logs, and then all the other logs are inside them. So they make buoys out of certain logs, and then all the other logs just sit inside those, right? So they've made these big diamond-looking things, or rectangles, I guess, where they've tied the outside logs together as the buoys, and then inside are just the logs floating freely. Is what it looks like, right? It's just sort of to corral them all together, right? And then they're pulling that like a barge train situation down the river, right? And so there's one person in the barge pulling the barge, and then Paul Newman is in the little runabout boat, pushing the back end around for the big corners, right? That's what's happening here. And in the strangest movie ending of all time, right? The town is gathering to watch this happen, right? To see this impossible feat performed by the remaining 2 Stamper men. And in defiance, Paul Newman produces Henry Fonda's severed arm and ties it to the top of the boat, middle finger extended towards the town as they drive by.
What?
It's
no, that's weird.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
No.
It's are you serious? What?
No.
Where did you just had that laying around? They didn't take that with you to the corner thing? What?
It's not okay.
How did you get possession of just the arm? It's very weird.
I'm really not okay with that.
Yeah, it was really strange. Right? I don't know. Anyway, that is sometimes a great notion. Or never give an inch.
Or yeah.
There you go. 1971, Paul Newman, right? A lot of discussions on the internet talk about the depiction of masculinity and how it's kind of, I guess there's a book also. Maybe the book does a better job of delving into this, what you might call a more toxic masculinity in 2025, right? And apparently the book deals more with that particular aspect. Like the movie kind of skirts around with that, but like it doesn't really do anything with it. Right? They just kind of go along to the logging, right? It's more logging. Like, oh no.
How how interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'll
there you go.
say there.
So yeah, this is it is a movie.
Yeah.
It's very boring for the most part, right? It's like a little under 2 hours, at least the version I watched, right? I just found it free on the internet somewhere, right? And just watched it. So like it's a little under 2 hours. And for the majority of that 2 hours, like really nothing is happening. Like the last 30 minutes are basically all the action. You know, a couple little bits in the middle, but like there's a lot that Mr. Newman could have like chopped off this movie, I think. But yeah, there we go. Now I know that the weird guy trapped under the log movie is called Sometimes a Great Notion.
Yeah.
That's what I learned today.
Good job.
So there you go. Bang.
Well, I won't be watching that.
I would skip this one, right? I would skip this one. It's not really that good.
Okay. Well,
so we'll see. Who knows if or when part 4 will appear.
I'm ready for it.
You know, I found my list of potential candidates, and it is all just like the one movie where blah 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 happens, because I don't know anything else about it.
The one thing.
Some of these are really hard to find when you only know like one scene of a movie. It's a little difficult to try to search for that, right? So I don't know if
sure
it can be difficult to go, what in the heck is this?
Yeah. What is actually happening right now?
Yeah, like I don't know how you Google this. I don't know what to do here, but yeah. So there we go. Oh. That is my returning segment of Fugue State movie reviews. Boom.
I love it.
Thank you for listening to my rant about a very weird 70s movie. Also, really one of the first movies ever shown on HBO. Yeah.
Seems weird.
Yes. I think they just needed a movie and they're like, we'll pay you to do this. Paul Newman, he's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it would have also been like just a couple years after the movie came out too. So maybe that's why we need that hot new movie. Oh, Paul Newman.
Need something.
Paul Newman, what do you got?
Something. Well, won't be on my summer watch list, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's fine.
No. Hey, well, I look forward to.
You got to talk about that read list, though.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay. Oh yes, that we are actually going to do that this week. Fine. Sorry.
It's fine.
Yes, we will work on that. And I will. I'll end us with a haiku.
Hooray!
Okay. Lightning splits the sky. Wind dances through greening fields. Thunder wakes the earth.
Ooh.
Some thunderstorms this week.
That's a good one. Very nice.
Springtime. Here we are.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
in Missouri.
We'll see what happens. And next time, I think next time we are going to have our book ready to go.
Oh, we are? Okay.
That's the plan.
All right.
We'll actually do it this week.
Nice.
So we'll see.
No, okay.
Okay. Very good. Well, love you.
Love you too.